What if you could literally, physically erase your past? I mean, really do it. Today we're going to dive into this strange new industry that's turning heartbreak into a business model. And it all kicks off with a question that's probably as old as time.
I mean, sure, it's a question poets have obsessed over for centuries. But let's be real. It's something most of us have had to deal with ourselves, right? After a breakup, what do you do with all that stuff? You know what I'm talking about. The photos, the gifts, all that physical proof that a relationship was once there.
Well, it turns out that in China, the answer is becoming pretty clear. You shred it. Yeah, you heard me. A whole new industry is just booming, and it's built on one thing: helping people completely destroy the evidence of a failed romance. So let's dig in and see how this all got started.
And look, this isn't just some abstract trend we're talking about. There's a real person at the heart of this story. It all starts with one entrepreneur who saw a pretty surprising business opportunity right there in the ashes of other people's relationships. Okay, so meet Wei Lu. For a while, his business was actually pretty straightforward. He destroyed old electronics. Simple enough. But then, in the spring of 2023, he gets this really weird request. A client comes to him and wants him to destroy a pair of electronic rings. Rings that were apparently filled with digital memories. And boom, that was the light bulb moment. Wei suddenly realized there was this huge, totally untapped market for getting rid of what he now calls love rubbish.
But you gotta wonder, right? How does a niche idea like, shredding old love letters turn into a booming business? Well, to really get it, we've got to zoom out and look at these massive social shifts that are happening all across China right now. Get this, in just one recent year, almost 2.6 million couples in China divorced. That is not just a number on a page. It's a huge sign that society there is going through a massive transformation. So the big question is, why? What's going on?
And there isn't just one simple answer. It's really a mix of some pretty powerful forces all coming together. You've got cultural attitudes shifting. Marriage just isn't seen as this unbreakable, lifelong thing anymore. Then there's rapid urbanization, which means a lot of couples are cut off from their traditional family support. On top of that, women are becoming way more financially independent, and let's face it, the intense pressure of modern life is really tough on relationships. And maybe most importantly, that old social stigma around divorce, it's just fading away.
And here's what's really fascinating. It's who is driving this change. The data actually shows that over half, more than 50% of all divorces in China are started by women. And that's a direct result of their growing economic independence. It's giving them the power to walk away from unhappy marriages in a way that, frankly, their mothers and grandmothers just couldn't.
This all points to a huge generational shift. I mean, a survey from 2021 found that for almost 70% of young adults in China, divorce isn't seen as some kind of failure. Nope. It's just a normal part of life, a thing that happens when a partnership just isn't working.
Okay, so we've got the social backdrop, right? Divorce is on the rise. But why this intense, almost obsessive focus on wedding photos? Well, it's because in China, these are so much more than just pretty pictures. There's something way, way deeper. If you really want to get the emotional weight of this, just follow the money. In 2022 alone, the wedding photography industry in China was worth over $339 million. It's incredible. Couples pour massive amounts of time and money into creating these absolutely perfect, idealized images of their big day.
See, these photos aren't just personal mementos you stick in an album. They're a public statement. They're displayed right out in the open in homes as proof of the union, and not just for the couple, but for their whole families. They basically represent this perfect vision of love, commitment, and social status.
And that's why destroying them is such a big deal. When the marriage falls apart, those perfect pictures suddenly become these really painful reminders of a broken promise. So for a lot of people, physically destroying them becomes this deeply cathartic ritual. It's a way to symbolically sever the connection and, take back control of their own story. So think about it. You've got this deep cultural need crashing right into a massive social trend. For entrepreneurs like our guy Wei Liu, this wasn't just a good idea. It was what business nerds call a blue ocean.
What's a blue ocean strategy? Well, in simple terms, instead of fighting all your competitors in a crowded, bloody red ocean, think like therapy or legal services, you create a brand new, uncontested market space, a clear blue ocean. These businesses aren't just selling a service, they're selling symbolic closure. That's a product that basically didn't even exist a few years ago.
And the process they offer is really something else. So first, clients just box up all those painful memories and ship them off. Then they get to choose the method of destruction. You can go with simple shredding or get more creative with things like lasers. You can even watch the whole thing happen either in person or through a video stream. And get this, some services will even take the ashes and turn them into a new piece of art, literally transforming a painful memory into something new and maybe even beautiful.
But, of course, as you can probably guess, an industry this unique is gonna have some critics. So, what's the deal? Is this a genuine path to healing, or is it just a clever way to make money off of heartbreak?
All right, let's break down both sides of the argument. On one hand, the supporters say, look, this is a powerful cathartic act. It's a symbolic release that helps people close a chapter and start a new one. But the critics, they see it very differently. They say it's just a superficial, dramatic gesture that makes a really complex emotional process seem way too simple. And there's a serious concern here, too. Are these companies basically exploiting people when they're at their most vulnerable by selling them a quick fix?
And you can bet mental health professionals have something to say about this. They're quick to caution that, hey, while a symbolic act like this can be a helpful step on the journey, it is absolutely 100% not a substitute for real psychological healing. It just can't replace that deeper work that, a lot of the time, really needs professional help.
So where does this all go from here? Well, the industry is probably going to keep evolving. It's not hard to imagine technology playing an even bigger part. Maybe virtual reality distractions, who knows? But I think, more importantly, to really address those criticisms, the companies that will succeed are the ones that figure out how to combine these symbolic acts with real, comprehensive emotional support. Maybe even partnering with therapists to offer a more complete path to healing. And all of this leaves us with one last big question that kind of hangs in the air. This whole thing in China is all about destroying physical objects. But what about us? In an age where so many of our most powerful memories don't live in a shoebox, but on a server, in the cloud, how do we really get closure? You can't exactly shred a digital photo, so how do you truly, finally move on?